welcome to Build Series Sydney. My name is Kate Peck, and our next guest has gone from Summer Bay River Boy all the way to Miami Beach Naughty Boy. Please welcome Aussie actor Lincoln Younes. Woo!
Hello.
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 Welcome.
Thank you.
You are back for some holidays.
I'm back. It's summertime.
It's so nice to be
best.
back.
It's so nice to be back.
The energy.
Yeah.
Your family.
My family, my friends, like my OG high school friends. Yes. You know, those ones. And I mean, I've traveled a lot, but this time of year, Australia, Sydney, the beach, summer, it's the best place to be. So I feel very fortunate to be back.
So because you grew up in Bendigo, so we're a family.
I actually grew up in a lot of places. So I was born in Sydney. I moved to the Central Coast. I then moved to Canberra. And then I moved to Bendigo. Then I moved to Melbourne. Then I moved to Sydney. Now I'm in LA.
Solid.
I don't know where I grew up.
Traveling. Parents traveling.
My mum, yeah. She was this...
She's trying to get away from you.
She just kept trying to get rid of me. And she was like, how are you still here? And I was like, hi.
So where are we high school friends?
These ones are Melbourne.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're hanging out in Melbourne,
like
over
eastern
the summer
suburbs
break.
of Melbourne. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Like it used to be a bit sketchy back then. You get off the train, you'd be like, "Oh, this might be it. Is that a knife? No, it's a pen. Okay, I'm just paranoid. That's fine."
So what was school like for you? I know that you were big into soccer.
Yeah, I was a big nerd. I was actually incredibly shy throughout school, which not many people believe, but I was. I wanted to be a pro soccer player, so I played since I was 3. Actually, I always had loved Japan and I was learning Japanese, and this opportunity came up to go to Tokyo and do a production of Peter Pan, but you just had to act and dance and sing. And I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. I've done a lot of that. And they didn't test me. And then I got to Tokyo and I was like, wow, this is great. And for 2 weeks I was going around and loving it. And then it got to the performance night and I was like, oh crap, how do I? So I got one of the people to like take me side stage and teach me this dance very quickly. And I was in a pirate get up, and luckily I was up the back, so it didn't really matter, but the Japanese loved it and I got away with it. And around that time I fell in love with it in a big way. So
wow, so that was your start. That is so random. Did you have to do it in Japanese or was it in English? Peter Pan. Japanese Peter Pan. That's
Japanese
kind of cool.
Peter Pan. Yeah. I didn't have to
Peter
talk.
Pan.
Which Peter Pan. That's how we said it over there. And the other side of it was so my mum was a journalist. So I grew up in newspaper offices. So they used to have a deal where I could go watch movies for free if I reviewed the movies. So I watched a lot of movies, and that used to be my escape, and that used to be, you know, when I was kind of feeling lonely or shy or whatever, that used to be my safe haven. So
how old were you?
This was last week.
No,
I was probably from like 10 to 14.
So you were in a newspaper reviewing movies, the age of 10 to 14.
Yeah,
I think I was eating glue.
I was actually sub-editing.
Sub-edit?
I was sub-editing. I'm serious. I was sub-editing 40-year-olds, so that was fun. I was a big grammar nerd, and I also worked downstairs in the classifieds, which is the sales or marketing part of the newspaper that no one ever reads, but someone has to do it. So I used to get these phone calls where, you know, it'd be like selling a piece of furniture or doing this, and then every now and then I'd get a pimp call up. And
a pimp, like P-I-M-P.
P-I-M-P, like 50 Cent, like pimp, and call up, and I'd have to put a advertisement in there, and he didn't realize I was 14, but he'd be describing things, and I would be like, oh, sorry, sir, you can't say that. I could say voluptuous, I just can't say that. And then I'd have to defer to my boss at the time, so that was fun. That was a bit of a tangent. There you go. Yeah.
That is so loose. So were you on the payroll?
Yeah. It was like 6 cents an hour. Yeah, it was mad.
Slave labor, working with pimps. You are badass.
Yeah, I was badass. Yeah.
So mum was all okay with this. Mum was pretty cool. She was a free range kind of mum.
I think my mum prank called me once.
Was she a pimp too?
I hope not. I don't know, Mum. No. Mum was the editor at the paper at the time, so she was like the big boss, and it
was basically daycare, really.
It was basically daycare.
Yeah,
paid daycare.
Yeah. This is awesome.
I was learning life lessons very early.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
This is genius. Your mum's a genius.
She is a genius.
Now, after school, you started getting more into acting. So you went NIDA course and then...
Yeah, I didn't... essentially, this course came up and I jumped in and because I had no experience at all. I went to...
But Peter Pan.
Except for Peter Pan. I shopped around for an agent for quite a while because that's what you had to do. And I came across this lovely Polish woman called Joanna Maloj, and she took a chance on me and gave me a 3-month trial. And the first audition I went for was a show called Tangle, which I got, and I kind of learnt on the go. And Ben Mendelsohn was my dad, and Justine Clark was my mum. And there was a whole slew of amazing older actors in that series, and I kind of just was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to learn. I just observed a lot and tried to save face. Yeah.
Wow, so that was like your acting school, really?
That was my acting school, yeah, trial by fire.
Ben Mendelsohn, what a dude.
What a dude. What a talent.
And you won an award. You won an Astra for that.
I did, yeah. Talk
about getting out of the gates quick and good.
Yeah, that was weird. I everyone always gets up at those award shows and they're like, "Oh, I didn't have a speech planned because I didn't think I did not have a speech planned at all." And once you get up there, it's like basically everyone you respect in the industry staring at you, and the people that lost out staring at you, and you're like, "Hi, my name's thank you." I don't know what I said. I think I blacked out.
Oh, that's just, and it's just like black.
It's just, yeah. And then you wake up in the hotel room, you're like, what is, it's an award. Okay. So
that must have been quite amazing.
It was an amazing night. It was an amazing night. And I remember that night was so amazing, not because of the award, but because they had the best like lolly bar you've ever seen. And everyone was like drinking. And I was like, oh, Vandales. Yes.
Just like a little boy's wet dreams, just all like
everyone's coming up and they're like, oh, congratulations. I'm like, shh, Vandales.
I've got a red skin in my mouth. Go away.
I'm trying to eat. I've got chocolate on myself. That's cool.
And then Home and Away happened. So,
yeah.
I mean, Home and Away is an unbelievably iconic Australian show. We had Frankie J. Holden in here the other day. Yeah, he started on Home and Away now, which is something he hadn't done before. But
no.
Do you remember getting that phone call? Because it would have been pretty massive for you at that age.
Yeah,
and everybody would have been watching. Like,
it was crazy. So I did the first series of Tangle when I was 16. So I was still in school. Then I did year 12 and because I was a big nerd, I wanted to focus on that, and then went to university and did the second season of Tangle. And that part of my life was a lot of like, oh, I'm at university, parties, college, da-da-da. I was actually sleeping on my friend's college dorm at Melbourne Uni because it took an hour to get in from where I was living at the time. So he owed me anyway. It was fine. So I'd sleep on his floor, and that was a whole very hilarious time. And at the end of that first semester, I kind of was like, I need to go experience life a bit more. I just like, I'm going to defer. I'm going to go to London. Don't know why. Just was like, I want to go to London. And as soon as I walked towards the travel agent, about to buy the ticket, and that's when I got the call about Home and Away. So it was all very quick, and I think I was 18 at the time, and it was for the following week. So I had this big party, and I hadn't told any of my friends, and then I told them that night, and they were like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, I guess I'm moving to Sydney to do this show, and I'd watched it in high school. So it was very weird, but amazing. And I remember getting to Sydney, and they put me up in this hotel, and I think I had like 3 days before we started, and I just was like so anxious. And I as well, I was not Home and Away type. Like, I was pasty, massive hair, never been to the gym in my life, like had been on a solid diet of Goon and KFC at uni. Like, I just
sleeping on newspaper.
Yeah. Like, it was not pretty. Anyway, got the job. Came into the first day, and I remember they were like, oh, welcome. They were really nice. And then they were like, okay, we need to get you tanned up and cut your hair. And I was like, oh, okay. And they cut off all my hair, pretty much. And that
cut.
Well, pretty much, yeah. And I had long obnoxious hair for a long time. And I realized, you know, that Samson story, I realized like all my strength was in my hair. So that went, and I was like,
Did you cry?
I just was like, I felt like a mole rat. It's like it's naked. I was like, don't look at me. Yeah. And then they tanned me up, and I was like, what is going on? It was fun. It was
pretty hectic, right?
It was pretty hectic. And the worst part I remember was the hotel room I was in. They're always white sheets. So I didn't know what you're supposed to do. So I got home and I was like, oh, that was such an experience. And I like lay down, and then I was like, what? Oh. And there was no one coming to like clean the sheets or anything. So I just lay in these 10 sheets for the next 3 days. It was a time.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, this is the glamour of the industry. Yeah.
Oh, the ladies are like, yeah, we know.
They're like, welcome to what we go through.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop crying, Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have a lot of respect for that. I was like,
us tanners.
oh, yeah.
But you were a river boy.
I was, yeah.
So you were kind of like, you were a little on the naughty side, but you were trying to be good.
Yeah. So he was the youngest of 3 brothers. He, Brax, which is the eldest one, played by Steve Peacock, who is a legend. It was basically their story of like, you know, him trying to help Casey always be in the straight and narrow, and Casey just had this propensity to always mess up, and that was the storyline for the 3.5 years, and
You're just screwing up,
and then the sad thing was like at the end, you know, Casey dies saving Brax. And so it all kind of turns, and it's like, oh,
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Is that like? Could you?
It was really sad.
Was it?
It was really sad. Yeah, it was funny because we will shoot because there's storylines and stuff, but we've been working closely together for 3.5 years, which is non-existent in acting, by the way. Like that consistently, you know, that much time together. Usually it's like 3 months, and you're like, see you around, and later, and you never see each other again. But I remember we were in this dodgy tin shed in Cat-Eye National Park at 3 a.m. with fake blood on me, and just like, and we just did the scene, and they were like, that's a wrap. And I was like, where am I? What are we doing? Bye. Bye. Like, it was very odd, but yeah.
So you really started to feel the emotion.
No, I was dead. I couldn't feel the emotion.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're dead inside after 3 years.
It's actually really hard playing dead, by the way.
Oh, I can imagine.
Especially
Did you have
in
to be trained how to play dead, or?
Well, my friend was a paramedic, so I actually called her and I was like, "How do you die?
Did she give
How
you
do you die?
drugs,
How do you die
or?
from a gunshot, like breathing wise?" And she like did it over the phone, which would have sounded very weird if anyone was listening. She's like, "It's like," I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll take you off speaker because people are thinking things." But no, and it was funny. I remember that shot. It was in a wide, and it just was for so long. It was like 40 seconds. So it'd be like a die. It was 40 seconds of not breathing in that kind of circumstance, and then it'd be like cut, and I'd be like, "Holy crap! We get it? No, okay, but."
Let's fast forward to Grand Hotel, which was shot last year.
Yes.
In Miami.
Yes.
It's a rendition of a Spanish
So it was
version.
a Spanish original written by Ramon and Teresa, who are 2 phenomenal writers and producers. And it did very well in Spain and around Europe. And then Eva Longoria, Ben Spector and Brian Tannen and ABC kind of picked it up and made it contemporary and set it in Miami in modern day. And and we shot the first episode in Miami during spring break and Ultra Music Festival at the Fountain Blue, which has one of the craziest nightclubs in the world in the lobby. So that was fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
what? How did you manage
do you mean? That's
to
normal.
shoot the like?
I you know what? Everyone's like, "Oh, you must have partied all the time." I would like close my curtains and I was like, this is my first big American job. I'm not going to stuff it up. And then I just hear like every morning my windows would reverberate. Just at like 7 a.m. they would just begin. It'd be like reverberations. And I was like, and so I'd open my curtain and I'd see a twerk competition going on and I'd just shut them. And I'd be like, I need to learn lines. So I did that for 2 weeks.
Have a green juice.
Yeah, I was like, And then we finished, and then I had a couple of really fun days.
Yeah, that would have been wild. So how did the opportunity come up in the first place? And you're the only Aussie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
oh yeah, I was the only one.
Represent.
Yeah. Eva was like, my Aussie. I was like, yeah. It's pretty crazy. So I worked for a long time in Australia in film and TV, and then the way it kind of works for most Australian actors is you save up, you then go over to LA on a tourist visa, and you audition, and then most of the time not get a job. So then you come back, you save, you go back, and I'd done that for a number of years, and I was kind of broke, and but I'd always wanted to go into theatre. So I did a year and a half of theatre, which was the hardest but most, like, it was the best thing I've done. I just, that kind of acting is so difficult but so rewarding. Did that for a long time, and around when I finished doing this play, I kind of went, oh, America's not going to happen for a while. I think, maybe when I'm older, whatever. And so I actually dropped my reps over there, got rid of my agents and managers, looked at going to London because I still loved London, and then got Grand Hotel. I auditioned for it, almost cancelled the audition because I didn't have enough time with it. And I thought I was going to do a bad job. I did some weird stuff in the audition too. You're not supposed to ever barrel the camera when you're acting, obviously. And I was like, I had this big Liam Neeson type monologue, like on a phone, like taken. And I was just like, oh, this is going to be really weird to do. And so I just barreled the camera and just did this full monologue. And the casting person was like, do you want to do not doing that? And I was like, no, I think that's good. And got it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
when you get the phone call of a big job like that, it just throws you back.
Oh, I remember at the time I was close to this other big job, and I thought that would come through, and then it didn't, and I was pretty disheartened. And my friend John Kim, he flew in from Melbourne to go to Tropfest with me, and we had this really amazing night. We ended up at this beach in Vaucluse, just him and I, just like sitting on the beach and sand, and we're just like, you know what, man, it'll be all right. It'll be okay. It'll all be fine. Just looking at the water like idiots. And the next day I went to help a friend with a self-tape, and it was a Sunday, so you don't expect a call ever on a Sunday to do with the industry, and got a call, and my agent was like, you got it. And I went, what? And I was very happy, and it all kind of happened very quickly.
Yeah.
And then I had to see if the visa would come through in time. So it was like 2 weeks of like tension, where I was like, I wanted to tell my friends that, I was leaving and I got something, but I was so petrified that the visa wouldn't come through, and then I'd be like, oh, I'm still here.
And that happens all the time.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And but it came through, and then I went straight to Miami, and got to Miami, by the way, at like 2 a.m. Yeah, 2 a.m. looking like just so disheveled and like sweaty and just smelly and hot. And I was just like, ugh. Got to this hotel. There's all these like men and women in like Balenciaga and no clothes. And I was just like, where am I? And I went to the front desk, I remember, and it's a very beautiful hotel. And they said, oh, you're here for the show? And I went, yeah. And they said, okay, so you're here for 21 nights. And I was like, yep. And I was very excited. I was like, should all be paid for? And they're like, oh, no, it's all paid for. And I was like, good. And they went, but there's a $300 per night security deposit. Oh. And I was like, oh, no, production should have paid for that. I don't have that money. I don't have that. And he goes, well, no, like we have to, it's protocol, we have to take it on. And it's 2 a.m. And I've been on a 30 or 40 hour layover because there was a break. Oh. Yeah, I was like, done. And I was like, man, I don't have that money. You're going to have to take it up with production, which I'm never like that. But I was like, have to take it up with production. I just want to go sleep. He's like, okay. Ooh. And like let me up to the room. And I was so excited about going to the room and getting room service, and got there, and salmon was like $60. And I was like, I might just sleep. I'll just sleep. I'll wait until I finish this thing and then maybe buy food. Yeah.
Jesus.
It was great. It was great.
That's so true, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was.
Yeah.
It's pretty hilarious. So
And obviously having Eva Longoria on there as the executive producer, like what was it like when you first met her? What was that experience?
I mean, I had it's already surreal enough meeting someone like that. Because, I respected her over the years. I thought she was supremely talented and just an amazing advocate for like women's rights and equality and diversity. And it's funny, you see on projects, auditions when they come through, you look at the producers and a lot of the time they're people you'd recognize, but you kind of just disregard it because you're like, oh, I'll get excited about this. And then you get disappointed if it doesn't, go through. But this came through and I was like, oh, wow, it's going to be interesting. I got to Miami and had a text from Eva and she was like, hi, babe. Do you want to see Miami? Do you want me to show you around the Miami way? Would love if you joined us for dinner. And I was like, hi, Eva Longoria. Yeah, okay. I'll check. Yeah, I'm not busy. Cool. See you there. And got picked up with a couple of the other cast and met them in the elevator and then got to this pier. I was like, what are we doing at a pier? And walking along and there's like 4-story yachts. And then like, I was like, oh, can't be that. Keep walking. There's like 3-story yachts. I was like, can't be that. Then I start seeing like big boats, but like smaller. And I just hear this like lovely voice be like, you guys. And I like turn around and she's on the biggest boat. And I was like, hi, Eva. She's like, my Aussie. Yeah. And she was just from that moment on the sweetest human being. And she still is. Like she was kind of a mentor in a lot of ways, but she was instantly maternal and generous to anyone, like even people that would rock up on set and, we're only there for like 10 seconds. She's the same to them as anyone, man. Yeah.
From the top to the bottom.
Yeah, I became like a pseudo babysitter for little Santi. She was pregnant, by the way, at the time. So during the pilot, she was quite pregnant, and then once we finished it, we had 3 months wait to see if it got picked up. Because I don't know if like I only learnt this properly, but there's so many pilots that are made every year. So like almost hundreds of millions of dollars from all the networks and all that kind of stuff, and only 5% get picked up ever.
5%
of pilots. Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, across the board. Yeah,
that's a lot of devastation for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. So there's I got a pilot, and then you're like, and most of the time it's like, oh damn it. But we got picked up, and she was directing the first episode back, and she had just had Santi. She just had Santi. So she was like breastfeeding on set and like trying to do all these things. And I'm like, Eva, you're a super, like, what are you doing? Like, take a second to chill. And I remember in that break, I came back to Australia to pack up my stuff. And I think I texted her, and she had just had the baby, like just had Santi. And like 10 minutes later was texting me back.
Whoa.
I was like, you're a superwoman.
That's a workaholic.
I know.
And so did she give you like insider tips as to how to navigate LA as a young actor starting there?
Not on how to navigate LA per se. It's more just how she treats people. Because I've always had in my head, be kind to everyone, all that kind of stuff. But there are a lot of times in this industry where unkind people are rewarded, and it's just nice to see, people that you look up to are as good as you'd hope they'd be and better, and they are doing well. So it was that kind of thing where you're like, okay, cool. The good ones still do well. And
how refreshing. It's probably all downhill after her.
I was about to say, I don't want to meet any other heroes.
You just stay Virgin Mary.
No, I was be like, don't talk.
Yeah. Now we've got some audience questions for you today, Lincoln.
Hello.
After acting in Australia and the US, how do they compare, and what do you prefer?
I don't prefer either one. I mean, there's no real difference, just the budgets. So Australia, just by the way it is, because we're a smaller industry and, a lot of the money comes from America, our budgets are much smaller, but that doesn't mean the quality is less at all. Our crews our crews and our talent are world renowned for that reason. I think, that's why Australians do so well, because we make a lot out of a little. Whereas over in America, they have so much money, and sometimes that money can replace preparation,
talent,
or talent. And I mean, look, America has craft services, which I had. By the way, I had no. Do you know what this? So craft services is basically the holy grail of catering. It's just food all the time.
Awesome.
Everything you'd want. And I didn't realize that until 3 months into shooting, which was a good thing. Because I was like, it was so funny. I'd never heard of craft services, because we usually have like a tea trolley in Australia with like 2 Arnott's biscuits. And you're like, yeah, that's my bit. Oh, you took it. Bit of Lipton, strong Lipton. Yeah. Maybe a sugar. But over there, I kept going, where the hell are people getting like tuna sashimi and where's this coming? And they just appear. And they'd be like, craft services. And I was like, what is what? And I go out and I look for it. Eventually I realized it was the big, massive RV, which had everything you could ever want. And
the mothership of food.
The mothership of food, which was not a good thing, because I'm quite naked in the series a lot. And I was just like, I wish I'd never known about this.
Why do you think there's so many ladies in the audience? Because we were sent a photo of your abs and there was at least 12 of them.
Thank you for saying that. I'll pay you all later. Thank you.
Now, saw you march in the climate change rally. How
Yes.
did you feel when you were in the States, seeing the state of Australia and our environment?
Oh, it's heartbreaking. I mean, it's very hard being away from the place you love and place, you grew up in, and not being able to do much about it. My mum and relatives grew up on a farm kind of near Batlow or Adelong, and that's still right in the fire line. And so I've got a personal connection to, our land and nature, and that is at the heart of Australia in a lot of ways. And so being over in LA and seeing all the devastation that was happening for so long, and kind of having a government not doing much about it, and as well, there's a lot of climate deniers in America and here. So it was good to actually be back on the ground, even though it had been raging for quite a while. But it was good to be here and join in the march and the protest and try and spread awareness, because at the end of the day, one of the leading, the head firefighters was there, and he was talking. He's like, the pure fact is we can't put out the fires. The only thing that can is rain. So all this money that it's a wonderful thing that we've been raising, but it needs to go to the right resources, and we need to do something about climate change now, and we need to change our thinking before it becomes irreversible, because it's already leading that way. So it was a nice thing it was quite horrifying flying in and seeing, the air quality. I had friends from America come and stay with me for 2 weeks, and it was interesting seeing what they had pictured in their head, and then seeing every single day whether we could go outside or, I organized a bridge climb with my friend Ken, and it so happened that the one day we went up was the one day that the air quality was okay. So that was a good thing. But I think it was enlightening for him, and it was enlightening for me, just being in the same place but a completely different environment, and going, how can you deny this stuff?
Yeah, very confronting.
Just look outside. Just,
There's no denying.
There's no.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's something I'd like to pursue more and try and help more. You kind of never know what your role is in this, but I think being apathetic is the enemy, So, and, I actually don't mind when people are misinformed if they're willing to listen, because that means there's the capacity to change. But the ones that just kind of don't want to hear it, or don't want to change their views, or the rigid,
block it out.
How does anyone progress from there? It's like conflict usually leads to resolution, but being static in your views or rigid in your beliefs and all that kind of stuff, there's nowhere to move. So yeah, that's
until you come here and see it.
Exactly.
What was the craziest experience you had working on set for Grand Hotel?
Oh man. Craziest. The pilot was, as I said before, the pilot was pretty crazy. Like, to film in a hotel and between takes be able to lie by the pool is just, every single one of my actor friends hated me. Every single one of them. They're all just like, that must be really hard. And I was like,
poor you.
Yeah, I was like, and I'd take a picture and be like, yeah, it's really hard. Sorry. What was pretty crazy though, which some people don't know, was the first episode was filmed at that hotel in Miami. From the 2nd to the 13th, they rebuilt the entire hotel in a studio in LA.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Money well spent.
Yeah. It was ridiculous. And there was one weekend where I had to fly back to Miami to do location shoots, right? But the rest of the cast stayed in LA and kept filming. And so I flew from LA and was in the real hotel, and I had a cast member send me a video of where she was, and I was standing in the exact same location, and we compared videos, and it was exactly the same. It was so weird.
That's so weird.
There was just more drunkards where I was, but yeah. Yeah, so that was pretty crazy.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different world over
It's a
there,
different
right?
world.
We
It makes
wouldn't
no
be doing
sense.
that here.
Yeah, usually you open a set door. Like if it was a hotel corridor, you'd open a door and it'd be like, 4 lighting guys just eating a sandwich. Whereas over there, you'd open it and it'd be a full hotel room with like Egyptian sheets, and you're like, I might just have a nap.
Yeah. On
Just
this
nap.
legit bed with these legit sheets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Lincoln, it's been really awesome to talk to you. I think the audience has thoroughly enjoyed our
thank you.
chat. Guys,
Thanks.
what do you think? It's a bit
Thanks
of
for
a
having
round of
me.
applause.
Thank you.
Make sure you keep an eye on your screens, because Lincoln will have some fun upcoming projects that we can't talk about just yet. But thanks for watching Build. We'll see you next time.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
That was great.
Really